more shots being fired at the tower.
It is August 1966.
Austin, Texas was held in the grip of a terror which began in killing and ended in killing.
American television riveted on a college student, former Marine Charles Whitman, the son of an abusive father. He climbs to the top of the University of Texas tower, shoots and kills 14 people, wounding 32 others before he is taken down. It is hard to believe after Whitman, it would be another 30 years before a school shooting with such a high death toll, especially since after Columbine, there's a steady stream of assaults. Law enforcement says 50 rampage school shootings, and ABC News has estimated at least 79 thwarted plots, more than half of them mentioning Columbine.
Columbine was a new kind of shooting.
Again, former FBI profiler Mary Ellen O'Toole.
Like a military mission. We're just seeing one right after another, and each one learns from the other, which also is very concerning. It's not just copycatting.
We reviewed cases over the years and found that the number of younger shooters per year has more than doubled since Columbine. O'Toole says she's worried about a generation raised on violence, video games, movies. And take a look at this study. It shows today even a PG-13 film has triple the gun violence it used to have 30 years ago.
When you look at the shooters now, many of them were born into this culture of violence. That's what they grew up on. Whether it's movies or books or social media, their brains became hardwired on violence.
Is this documented, though?
No, but I think many of my colleagues have the same fear that this thing has morphed and changed since Columbine.
What role do you think access to guns played and plays in these?
You cannot carry out a mass murder without weapons of mass destruction. Can't do it.
And in America, 68% of school shooters get their guns from relatives or at home.
For example, Japanese young men love violent video games. They buy more of them than we do, but you don't see mass murders over there.
She says it is a different culture, but also in Japan, it's difficult to get guns. Compare 6 gun deaths in Japan in all of 2014, 33,000 here in the U.S. So what can we do about the shooting at schools? Mary Ellen O'Toole wrote the nation's manual on how to prevent them through what's called threat assessment. And as we said, since 79 have been thwarted, prevention can work, but how? In dozens of cases, it is fellow students who've overheard something, tipped off authorities, who act as a team to assess the seriousness.
We could be having a very different news conference today had this plan gone through.
In other cases, they are complete strangers who act on intuition. A clerk developing pictures at a drugstore.
There's pipe bombs with nails taped to them.
Police went to a home and found a vast arsenal of weapons and explosives and a mention of Columbine. As we said, most mass shooters are boys, and often the tips come from girls, like Katie.
It's absolutely terrifying to be the person who has to come forward and say this because you don't know.
Terrified, but making her choice.
What if I didn't say something? I'd have to live the rest of my life knowing that I'd almost feel just like I was just as much to blame as they were if I didn't say something.
All right, guys, see you later.
Have a good day, man.
Police officers like Captain Cheryl Newman Tarwater in Los Angeles are asking for everyone's help in the race against time. Her unit alone has 37 ongoing cases.
It's not about everyone, tattling on each other or I'm going to tell on you. It's not about that. It's about looking at your environment and wanting it to be safe as possible and wanting to help folks get help if they need it.
Need it like this young man, who has come forward in shadow to make an appeal. He was once a depressed teenager talking about a plot of violence against other students, but some of his classmates turned him in. He says tonight how grateful he is for his wife, family, career, and his second chance.
For the love of God, reach out and talk to someone. It could be your parents, it could be the school guidance counselor. If I can say something tonight, no matter how small it is, to maybe help even one person who went through something similar to what I was going through, then I guess it'd all be worth it.
Anyone can be the person who observes the behavior and decides that they will not interpret it themselves. And most of the time, frankly, it is a nothing. But maybe it's just that one peek into what could be the next Columbine.
Next, the one other thing Sue Klebold wants to say to the victims' families tonight.
I'm